Welcome to the Bad Business Podcast, where we don't pull punches. If it's shady, corrupt, or just straight up bad business, we're calling it out. From greedy CEOs to power-hungry city officials, nobody's safe here. Buckle up because the truth doesn't apologize.
You're here because you want to get informed quickly and thoroughly. Forget the endless scrolling. We take the crucial information and unpack it for you.
That's the goal.
Today, we're heading to Oakland Park, Florida. There's this intriguing and somewhat perplexing situation unfolding. It involves All Saints Catholic Mission, a church there, and they're actually being fined by the city.
Fined for what exactly?
For feeding the poor inside the church.
Okay, that definitely sounds like something we need to dig into.
Right. So our mission in this deep dive is to really understand this conflict. Why the pushback from the city? What are the legal arguments flying around?
And the bigger picture, too, presumably. What this says about community support.
Exactly. We've got a few key sources to guide us. A news report from WSVN 7 News, some official info from the City of Oakland Park's website.
Okay.
An interesting report from Industry Insider Reports, and also a personal story from YouTube, someone who actually uses the church's services.
Good range of sources. So starting with the church, All Saints, what's their story?
Well, what immediately jumps out is just how long they've been doing this.
Right. The WSVN report mentioned 31 years.
31 years, consistently providing hot meals twice a day.
And it's not a small number of people either.
Yeah.
Around 200 folks a day.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't some, temporary setup. It's deeply embedded in what they do.
And the food's all donated, right? Run by volunteers.
That's right. And the pastor, Father Bob Caudill, he doesn't just provide food. The report mentioned counseling, support. It's more holistic.
So a real community hub then?
It certainly seems that way. You even hear it in the 7 News piece. A parishioner basically says they'd go hungry without Father Bob's help.
Wow. Okay, so if they've been doing this for 3 decades, why now? Why is the City of Oakland Park ordering them to stop?
That's the puzzling part. This apparently started way back in 2014.
2014, and the fines just kept coming.
Yep, $125 a day, and now it's built up to close to $200,000.
$200,000 for feeding people. What's the city's official reason?
Well, according to the statement they gave WSVN, it boils down to the church needing to follow the law and be in compliance with the code. Pretty standard language.
Code compliance, okay. Did they offer any specifics?
Not in that statement. They also claimed they invited the church to meet and find a resolution.
But Father Bob denies that.
Directly contradicts it, says he never got an invitation. That's a key sticking point,
Definitely sounds like it. Does Father Bob have a theory about why this is happening?
He does. He believes it might be tied to potential redevelopment plans in the area, that the kitchen is maybe seen as an obstacle.
Interesting. So a possible conflict between charity and, development goals.
That seems to be his perspective, yeah. And this whole thing raises some big legal questions, doesn't it?
You'd think so. What are the legal experts saying?
Howard Finkelstein, he's the legal expert for 7 News, was pretty blunt.
Oh, yeah.
He suggested the city's actions are, quote, likely against the law.
Against the law? Why?
He mentioned specific laws passed by both the Florida legislature and the U.S. Congress designed explicitly to protect churches doing this kind of work, feeding the poor.
So there are actual statutes protecting this activity.
Seems so. Finkelstein even warned that Oakland Park could end up paying a lot, in costs if they don't back down and drop these fines.
That puts a different spin on code compliance, doesn't it? If higher laws potentially override it.
Exactly. And Industry Insider Reports, they dug up the actual case number, CCE 21-19-546-8, and noted the involvement of Richard Rosenbaum's law offices. So it's actively being litigated.
Right. It highlights this potential clash, doesn't it, between, say, local zoning or public order rules and these broader, maybe even constitutional protections for religious freedom and charity. Finkelstein's point about state and federal law is crucial here. It suggests the city might be, maybe tunnel visioned on their local code and potentially missing or ignoring these higher-level safeguards.
It does make you wonder which level of regulation is meant to prevail in a situation like this.
Absolutely. And what's the intended scope of those protections for churches? It's a fundamental legal question.
And then there's the political layer, too.
Yes. What's happening there?
Father Bob mentioned something interesting. He said some politicians have, privately expressed support.
Privately, but not publicly.
Right. No public action. He actually used the word duplicity to describe it. You can feel his frustration.
That's tough. Private sympathy, but no public muscle.
Oh.
It adds another layer of complexity.
For sure. And industry insider reports also mention that they've reached out to Governor DeSantis' office for comment.
Oh, so it might be escalating beyond the local level then, or at least getting attention there.
Could be. It shows it's not just a simple legal dispute. It involves politics, public perception, maybe pressure from different groups.
Elected officials often have to balance competing interests, local regulations, constituent pressures, maybe broader political winds. It's rarely straightforward.
True. But look, amidst all the legal talk in politics, we can't lose sight of the people involved.
The 200 people getting meals every day.
Exactly. And that YouTube video we mentioned from Digital Broadcast Media, it features a man named Martin Woodside. His story, it really grounds this whole thing.
Tell us about Martin.
He is a Vietnam veteran, also a former Marine, and worked for the Broward County Sheriff's Office as a detention deputy.
Okay. And he uses the mission services.
He does, but he also volunteers there now, 3 weeks every month, serving coffee, helping out.
Wow, giving back.
Yeah, and he talks very openly about how being involved there, it's actually improved his relationship with God.
That's powerful.
It is, and while, we don't need to get into all the details of his past difficulties, it's clear the mission gives him this real sense of purpose, connection, community.
It's more than just a meal ban. It's about belonging, finding meaning. His story really underlines the multifaceted impact the church has.
Absolutely. Hearing that really puts the city's actions, those fines, into a pretty stark perspective.
It does.
Now, looking at the city side again, just the structure. Their official website says Oakland Park has a city commission.
Right, the governing body.
5 members, elected, 4-year terms. They're the ones setting policy, approving spending, adopting the ordinances. It's the one being used here, presumably.
And their meetings are public? Broadcast?
Yeah, first and third Wednesday of the month. Broadcast and live streamed. The current commissioners are Mayor Tim Lonergan, Vice Mayor Stephen Arnst, and Commissioners Aisha Gordon, Letitia Newbold, and Fitzbutu.
Okay, so that structure is important context. It means there are specific elected officials who are accountable.
Accountable to the residents, yeah.
And they have the power to potentially reconsider this whole situation. The fines, the city stance, the public nature of meetings also means there's an avenue for people to weigh in.
Right. So let's try and wrap our heads around this. You've got this church, All Saints, a pillar for decades helping vulnerable people.
Providing essential aid day in, day out.
And now they're facing these massive fines from their own city for doing that work.
While at the same time, there are strong legal arguments suggesting the city might be on shaky ground. Legally questionable, as Finkelstein put it.
And we've heard the human side, too, through Martin's story. People finding not just food, but purpose, community.
Exactly. This whole situation in Oakland Park, it really puts a spotlight on that tension, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Between local rules, regulations, maybe development goals.
In the role of faith groups, charities, in meeting fundamental human needs.
It forces you to ask, what's the right balance? What is the core responsibility of a city government versus the role of these organizations, especially religious ones, in caring for the most vulnerable?
Yeah.
This case really pushes us to think about those fundamental questions. Community, responsibility, how we care for each other.
It really does. And look, if this discussion has got you thinking and maybe you feel moved to support All Saints Catholic Mission, their website is allsaintsmission.org.
Allsaintsmission.org. Good to know.
That was mentioned in the WSVN report. It's a direct way to potentially help their efforts there in Oakland Park. So as you go about your day, maybe mull this over, what does a community truly owe its most vulnerable people? And how should local rules interact with, or maybe even support, the groups trying to provide that help?
It's complex. No easy answers, for sure.
Definitely not, but certainly something worth reflecting on.
Tell us what you think. Should the City of Oakland Park be fining a church for feeding veterans, struggling families, and the homeless? We want to hear from you in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next episode, it's a full-blown dumpster fire you are not going to want to miss.